Meaning to do a video on this bike, and I've been thinking about why it's one of the best scooters I've ever had / motorcycles. It really is one of these scooters that feels almost perfect. You know, shout out to Scott F. He just bought a Honda PCX as well. He probably bought a brand new one. That guy is a high roller. But I am extremely happy with this particular bike. So first of all, the 150cc engine from this Honda PCX is insanely good. It has more get up and go than most cars. It beats most cars off the line, and people are just like entirely surprised. It's a 150. It's a 150cc, which is crazy. I know that the Neo ones are 160, but it's all the same thing. So I need to talk to you in this video about this bike because, as you guys know, I've had quite a few bikes. I think the closest thing to this bike is really the SH150, but the SH150 was kind of flawed because they only made it for 1 year in the United States, making it rare, and the last thing you want is a rare scooter when you're going to be riding it every day. That gets expensive. Ask me how I know. This I'm picking up for Lisa, first order for today. A lot of times the reason scooters suffer a little bit, it's not the power or the speed, it really is like the lack of good suspension. Just recently changed the oil as well. I changed the oil, and that's another awesome thing about this particular bike. It doesn't use up a lot of oil. It doesn't use a traditional oil filter, so the strainer is just blow it out. I actually had to replace mine. I had the replacement cover. So I bought this bike in North Carolina, but the guy was from New Jersey, so he had it in New Jersey, and that oil filter was just stuck on, and the whole thing was stripped, so I had to completely file it down just so I could remove it and fit another wrench in there. So this bike has got 14-inch wheels, and I was thinking, why are they so perfect? Well, the little mini scooters, they have like 10 and 12-inch wheels, and they feel fun. They accelerate quickly for like 50s and 100s. They just have so much get up and go, and they turn like super quickly because they're so small. But they have this weird handling. It's not very stable. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have bikes like the SH150 with 16-inch wheels that feels like motorcycles. It feels like a motorcycle when you're riding it. And the 14 just kind of fit dead perfect in the middle. It feels like it corners like a motorcycle, but at the same time, it's got that sprightly nature of a scooter. This particular bike with a 150, I don't know, maybe it's just a Honda thing, but every engine I've had that's a 150 has been really good, including the SH150. I had the Elite 110, and that one is really good. Great underseat storage, but up hills it would like decrease in speed. Not this one, not the SH150. All of these 150s, they'll just keep climbing and climbing and climbing. They never decrease the speed. It's not like a 50cc that you approach a hill and you go from 25 miles an hour to like 18. It's not like that at all. Acceleration. Look, this bike, this motorcycle, this scooter, it gets up and goes, and it surprises a lot of cars. It gets up to like 50 miles an hour, and because it's a CVT automatic transmission, you always have power. You're always on that instant, almost electric feel. Of course, you don't have the amount of torque electric motorcycles have, but this is probably the best thing than getting a overpriced electric motorcycle that costs like $15,000. One of the cons that this bike has is that it does not have a flat floorboard. Many scooters don't have ABS, and most don't need it. This one has got a very Honda thing. It's got link braking. So when you apply the rear brake on the left, it actually applies the front and the rear together. That's a downside to that, because if you wanted to like kind of slide your rear tire around by braking, you can't do that. During weekdays you get a lot of terrible offers like this $2 one. It feels like a scooter. It doesn't feel like a heavy motorcycle. When you have like a 500cc or even a 600cc Silver Wing, it feels heavy like a motorcycle. Sure, the weight of it is like low to the ground because of the design, but you still have a lot of mass. And with this thing, I mean, you can kind of throw it around, hop up on curbs, and generally you can be a hooligan. And I think that's the reason, like, if I was a criminal, if I was a thief, I wouldn't pick like a Dodge Charger, something that sticks out, or even a Nissan Altima. What I would do is like I'd pick a Prius or a Tesla. You have a scooter, you can kind of behave, you get a license to behave a little bit worse. You can hop on sidewalks, you can go on the opposite ways, because people kind of just look at you as like, oh, hey, there's that loser on a scooter. And I love it, you know. This one has seen better days, I have to admit, but in general, the look of this, it's awesome. And it kind of blends a little bit more, because, you know, the style of today is to get ADV bikes, the Honda ADV. By the way, I'd love to have that. But when you look at the price of this, it's very difficult to actually get the Honda ADV. This is better. You can get one of these maybe in the winter time for like $1,500. In the summer, spring, you'll get them for $2,500. And what you have is a 95 miles to the gallon bike that's capable of highway miles, highway speeds for short amounts, and capable of even touring on it. You have 14-inch wheels, you have link braking, you have a decent amount of under-seat storage, and it doesn't stand out. Now, a lot of people, they want to stand out. This is not the bike for you. This is stealthy. This is just get the job done type of bike. And if you're thinking about getting a 50, I think I would recommend getting this one instead. It's just, the 150s from Honda, they have just knocked them out of the park. Like, they are as close to perfection that we can possibly get, I think, in scooters. I think this engine that's in this thing is just amazing. And sure, I'm using it for Uber Eats, but I can't imagine another bike as good as this. They have the Yamaha X-Max and S-Max, which is, I think, a 155cc. And we have an order coming in from the grill. You know what? We're going to pick that up. It's right over there in the grill. And this thing, look at that, skateboarding. And the seat is reasonably comfortable. It's not bad. It could be better, but there's like so many features about this thing that I love. First of all, it's simple, right? But you have these cables, you put it in the on position, you open up your gas port or your seat. And another amazing thing about this is this: handlebars. I have no idea why on earth the SH150 and bikes like the Kimco people, they have like nothing that you can strap a phone onto. It's like such a idiotic design, because people, I've seen people like drill the actual glass to get a phone down. It's just insane to me. This has got handlebars. You have many more options for handlebars, and it makes it so much easier. Go to park there, 14-inch wheels, get you right over the curb. That was, oh, that is such a rip-off. I didn't realize it was a 2 pickup. The bad, except I did not want to do this. I had no idea this was a 2 delivery thing. Chick-fil-A here, always busy. Every Chick-fil-A I've delivered, always busy. By the way, everybody in Chick-fil-A is happy. It's one of the few places that's fast food that actually treat the delivery drivers well. Let's go and pick up this, whatever it is. 5 items. Oh my god. All right. Thank you.
Have a good day. Take care.
You too. Thank you. That's why the food was there, like just already prepared. It's because nobody wanted to go and deliver this. I did not see the 2 deliveries. You know, I think I'm being very petty, but I like bikes to be taller. The SH150 felt taller. This one feels shorter. The Elite 110 feels even shorter. Another amazing thing about this bike, fuel injection. It starts right up. It's like no, and I have a lithium battery on this thing, but it is just so amazing to have fuel injection. And if you prefer carbs, maybe you should talk to Motoro USA and his Goldwing. So this is where the pizza and the other big bag is going to. That's another benefit of this thing. It doesn't take up a lot of gas. It's 1.4 gallons of fuel, which is like really low to the ground, and it makes riding a breeze and filling up a breeze. I mean, people are pumping their gas. I go in there, I fill up, and I leave. And they're still pumping their gas. That's how amazing this bike is. It's a workhorse. 90 something miles per gallon. This is a $6 offer. So I built this thing so the cups and stuff would not fly away. You see, like, this is already kind of off. They didn't put the lid on right. So that goes on here, and you just kind of close it so it velcros in place, and then it shouldn't spill, in theory. Also, another thing I did, I put WD-40 on the zippers, and now it just slides so much easier. You can't expect this bike to be great on the highway, so I don't really judge it based on how good it is at high speed. But the one thing I can tell you is that I've taken it on 495, I-95, 216, quite a few highways, and for a short amount of time it's definitely doable. You'll find that you can get a used Ninja 250 for the price of a Honda PCX, and that's true, and that's the reason I've owned quite a few Ninja 250s. The bang for the buck on them is better, but this is so much more lightweight, so much easier to throw around. And you're talking about an engine that's flat on the floor. The gas tank is it's like where your feet are. So the weight, the feeling of weight is just so much lower. It's really to use CVT transmission. It's got power throughout. You constantly have enough power to get out of a dangerous situation. In a chair-like seating position, it's more comfortable. Something about having something like this and doing commutes every single day is much easier than straddling a motorcycle. Actually considering selling my Honda Africa Twin in Europe and buying another one of these. Get up for Alessandra. Alright, that's a big bag. Thank you. Should be like $20 to deliver. It's freaking heavy. I'm really impressed by the scooter, as you can probably tell. If the thing with maxi scooters, you might want to go, oh, you know what? I want to get a T-Max. I like scooters. Those T-Maxes get worse gas mileage than a 1200cc bike. Because of the CVT, you're kind of like stuck with those ratios. It's a great bike, but a lot of times people get scooters because of the utility and the gas mileage, especially now with gas climbing up in price. I don't know, 45 miles to the gallon does not seem that good on a scooter. Here's a negative of this bike. Right now I'm getting hit by the wind, and you get pushed around pretty badly on it. So when it comes to being a lightweight bike, it's great for throwing it around, but also the wind can throw you around. Another downside of this bike is that if you want to be able to do maintenance, you have to remove a lot of plastic. Luckily, this type of bike only has a few screws, and you just kind of pull everything out and it kind of comes apart. But the engine on this sits really low to the ground, good center of gravity. The downside is that you have to remove a lot of plastic to reach the head of the engine in case you want to do engine work. This does require valves to be adjusted. They're the lock and nut type adjustment, which is appreciated, but you do have to struggle to get to the front of the engine. So what would be my wish list on this bike? Well, I like better suspension. I also would like a couple inches of suspension just so I can go over some of the rougher roads, and I do like the idea of touring on a small scooter. So there's limited ground clearance on this bike. So a lot of times you go over one of those speed bumps and it's like, oh man, you hear the bottom hit the bump, coupled with the very low suspension, or the soft suspension, you get that. How's it going?
How fast can that rascal go?
It goes 60.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. That's a 150. Yeah, best scooter I've had. I've had like tons of scooters. That was really good. Yeah. You should get one. That one's like maybe $2,000 bucks.
That's good.
Yeah, it's a Honda, very reliable. 100 miles to the gallon. All right, see you, man. Good-looking people just have it much easier in life, don't they? Can't really do this sort of thing on a motorcycle with ease. Just a little highway run. How's it going? Picking up for Vinny J. So, and deliver this to Jorge. You know, I just never understood the hostility that motorcycle riders have towards riding a scooter. I mentioned this before. If I recommend a scooter to somebody that wants to learn to ride a motorcycle, I think a lot of times they want to kick my ass because they think I'm calling them gay. You don't have to go very far to have an adventure. But if I am to ride a Super Tenere, FJR 1300, I am not happy just riding around here. I need to go like 200 miles just to have a workout. This thing, riding 50 miles, 100 miles, it feels like you've gone on a major adventure. One negative of this bike, let's say you wanted to stand up to go over these bumps, the way it's positioned in a chair-like kind of ergonomic position, it doesn't let you stand up easy. You know, surprisingly, when you look around this area, you go like, oh man, it looks just like such a small, average area. But no, this is Tacoma Park. It used to be where all the hippies used to live, but now it's just like rich, uber rich people. Like the head of the DNC and a lot of politicos. They all live here, they love it. But you would have to be very liberal to live here. I don't think they're accepting applications from anybody that's libertarian or Republican here. I haven't come here in ages. Let's go get this order. Okay, thank you. They had forgotten the drink. People are much more tolerant to scooters, much more than a motorcycle. That's why, like, if you live near a major city, you really should consider one of these as your transportation method. Because of its small size, you can lane split and kind of ride on the shoulder. You can pretend, oh look, it's me in a little scooter, and then like squeeze past them. The new wave of immigrant scooter riders are much more hardcore than the scooter riders and motorcycle riders in this area. They rode all winter long, you know, Biden let them in and boom, they got to work. This is where the Smithsonian is. You don't want to take a motorcycle. By the way, this bike runs very cool. Here we go, Tidal Basin, and we're about to cross over into Harlington. Of course, you can ride on the HOV all you want. Probably one of the best values in scooters. You know, I keep going back to it. It really is a perfect size engine. It looks small, but it packs a big punch. And I think that's why if you're considering a scooter, you should consider getting one of these or looking into them. The Honda ADV 150 should be just as good as this, if not better. But of course you're going to pay premium. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. And write in the comments below if you agree with my assessment of the 150cc scooter being the best all-around Goldilocks scooter in the market today.